My family stole from me. Not money. Something worse. My biggest deal. The $5 billion opportunity that was going to change my life forever. They literally took it from me. Betrayed me. And for a moment, I thought it was over. I thought I'd lost everything. But then I realized something. They had no idea what they were dealing with. Because what I did next, it didn't just destroy their plan. It changed the entire industry. This is the story of the ultimate betrayal and the perfect revenge. And it's all 100% true. If you believe in justice, subscribe now, and watch what happens when you mess with someone who's always 10 steps ahead. The deal was perfect. Not just good. Not just excellent. Perfect. A German sustainable energy company, Nexus Energy, was the most innovative green technology firm in Europe. They'd been watching me, following my portfolio, understanding my strategy, and they wanted me to lead their North American expansion. This wasn't a small opportunity. This was the kind of deal that changes your entire trajectory. The kind of deal that puts you on the global stage. The kind of deal that makes you matter in the world's biggest markets. The numbers were insane. $5 billion initial investment, with me taking a 12% equity stake. In 5 years, if the company performed as projected, that stake would be worth $800 million to $1.2 billion. I would go from $150 million net worth to nearly a billionaire. More than that, though, I would become something else, a global player. Not just a wealthy person. A visionary who's changing how the world generates energy. I'd spent 2 years building this relationship. 2 years of flights to Berlin. Meetings with their board. Presentations showing my understanding of their mission. Proving that I wasn't just another greedy investor. That I actually believed in what they were building. By month 24, they were ready. Markus, the CEO, Klaus, told me over dinner in Berlin, "We want you to lead this. Not just as an investor. As the strategic partner. You'll have a seat on our global board. You'll shape the future of sustainable energy in North America." I nearly cried. Literally. This was the moment I'd been working toward my entire adult life. We signed a preliminary agreement. Everything was set. The final contracts would be signed on a Monday morning in New York. Klaus was flying in specifically for the signing. It was happening. Then my father called me on Friday. "We need to talk about Nexus Energy," he said. My blood went cold. "How do you know about Nexus?" I asked. I'd kept it completely confidential. Only my 3 closest advisors knew. "David told me," my father said. "David. My brother. The one I just brought into my inner circle because I thought we'd finally connected. The one I'd started trusting because I'd let my guard down." "What about Nexus?" I asked, already knowing I wasn't going to like the answer. "We want in on the deal." "No," I said flatly. "Markus, listen." "I'm listening." "The answer is no. This is my deal. I built this relationship. I earned this opportunity. It has nothing to do with the Blackwell firm." "We have political connections you don't have," he said. "We could strengthen the partnership. We could help you." "I don't need your help. And frankly, I don't want it." There was a pause. A long one. "If you don't include us," my father said carefully, "there will be consequences." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Is that a threat?" "It's a fact," he said. "We are your family. And family takes care of family." "You cut me off," I reminded him. "You made it clear that we're not a unit. You made it clear that family was conditional. So don't come to me now with this guilt trip manipulation." I hung up. I didn't hear from him for the rest of the weekend. On Sunday night, I got a call from Klaus. "Markus," he said, and his voice was different. colder. We have a situation. My stomach dropped. What situation? I asked, though I already knew. Your father's company just approached us with a proposal. They want to take over the North American expansion. They're offering us better terms than you. Better connections. Better resources. Klaus, no. They said you were hiding this from us. That you were planning to take personal credit for a deal that involved your family company. They said we should be dealing with the firm, not with you individually. That's a lie, I said. Klaus, listen to me. I'm listening, he said. But I'm also listening to a very compelling offer from a very established firm with very deep pockets. How much better? I asked. They're offering 15% equity stake instead of 12%. They're offering to inject additional capital upfront. They're offering political connections at the federal level. 15%. They were offering them more than they'd offered me. Klaus, that's my family stealing my deal, I said, my voice shaking with rage. You understand that, right? What I understand is that they presented a more attractive offer, he said. Business is business, Marcus. Klaus. I'm sorry, he said. We're going with your family's company. The decision has been made. He hung up. I sat in my office for 3 hours in complete silence. Not moving. Not thinking. Just existing in the space where my future used to be. They'd taken it. They'd actually taken it. They'd stolen the biggest opportunity of my life. But then I realized something. They'd made a massive mistake. They'd shown their hand. And they had no idea what I was capable of when I was actually angry. What would you do if your family stole your biggest opportunity? Would you fight back, or would you let them win? I called my attorney immediately. I need to know everything about what my father's company just did, I said. What we discovered was even worse than I thought. My father didn't just approach Nexus directly. He specifically told them that I was inexperienced. That I was too young to handle a deal this big. That Nexus should work with an established firm. He told them I was prone to making rash decisions. He told them I was unstable. He'd actively undermined me to Klaus. Can we sue? I asked my attorney. For what? She said. He didn't break any laws. He made a business proposal to a potential client. That's not illegal. He's my son. Doesn't that violate fiduciary duty or something? Not in this case, she said. This wasn't a situation where he was stealing a company asset. This was an external opportunity that both of you were pursuing independently. So there was nothing I could do legally. But there was something else I could do. I called Klaus back. I need to tell you something, I said. Something your team should know before you finalize this deal with my father. What? He asked cautiously. My family company is in serious financial trouble. You probably don't know this because we kept it quiet, but they nearly collapsed last year. I had to personally inject capital to save them. How much trouble? Klaus asked. Enough that they might not be able to deliver on their promises, I said. Enough that your deal could be at risk. This was a calculated risk. I wasn't lying. My father's company had been in trouble. But it was mostly stabilized now under my management. But Klaus didn't know that. What are you saying? He asked. I'm saying that before you sign with them, you should do a full financial audit. You should verify their assets. You should check their credit ratings. You should understand who you're really dealing with. Klaus went silent. If this is true, he said slowly, you just saved us from a massive mistake. I'm telling you the truth, I said. Do your own investigation. Don't take my word for it. He did. And what his investigators found was enough to scare him. My father's company was more fragile than they realized. The acquisition of the Nexus deal would have overextended them. They probably would have failed within 2 years. Klaus called me back. "We're pulling out of the deal with your father," he said. "We're terrified now. Thank you for warning us." "What about me?" I asked. "What about you?" he said. "Do I still have the opportunity?" There was a pause. "Marcus, I need to be honest. You just saved us from a terrible mistake. But you also just sabotaged your own family to do it. That's not the kind of person we want leading our expansion." My heart sank. I'd stopped them from stealing the deal, but I'd also destroyed my own chances of getting it. I'd won the battle but lost the war. Or so I thought. When you're forced to choose between revenge and your dreams, can you ever win? I spent the next 48 hours in complete darkness. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just sat in my office thinking about everything I'd lost. The deal. The future. The vision I'd built for the past 2 years. And then I realized something. Klaus had said they were pulling out of the deal with my father. But he hadn't said the deal was dead. He'd said they were terrified. Scared. Uncertain. What if I could turn that fear into an opportunity? What if instead of trying to get the deal for myself, I could give them what they actually needed? I called Klaus on Sunday morning. "I have a proposal," I said. "Marcus, I don't think," he started. "Just listen," I interrupted. "You're scared because you don't trust my family to execute. I understand. But you still need someone to lead the North American expansion. You still need that market presence." "Yes, but what if I create a separate entity? A new company specifically designed to partner with you? Not my family company. Not my personal firm. Something new. Something clean. Something that exists only to make your expansion successful." "That sounds expensive," Klaus said. "It is. I'm proposing I personally fund the first $500 million. I'll create the infrastructure, hire the team, and execute the expansion. You maintain your 85% equity stake. I take 15% for building it and running it." "That's more than what you originally negotiated," Klaus said. "I know. Because now I'm bearing all the risk. If this fails, I lose $500 million of my own money. You're protected. The expansion is protected. And you get a partner who's incentivized to succeed." Klaus went silent for a long time. "Let me discuss this with my board," he said. 3 days later, he called me back. "We want to do this," he said. "But we want to understand your plan in detail." I spent the next week preparing a 200-page business plan. Investment strategy. Hiring plan. Marketing plan. Timeline. Everything. I presented it to the Nexus board via video call on the following Monday. They were impressed. Very impressed. "This is the most comprehensive plan we've ever seen," one board member said. "Where did you learn to think like this?" "From watching my father fail," I said honestly. "We signed the deal 2 weeks later. But here's the thing nobody knew. By creating a new company instead of using my existing firm, I'd avoided all of the legal liability and baggage associated with being the Blackwell family's investment company. My new company, Nexus North America, was clean, unburdened, positioned to succeed. Meanwhile, my father's firm was still struggling, still dealing with the financial problems that had nearly destroyed them. I hadn't just saved the deal. I'd positioned myself to dominate the North American sustainable energy market. And my family had no idea what I'd done. 6 months into the expansion, Nexus NA was already beating all projections. We were on track to deploy $1 billion in the first year alone. Media was starting to notice. Industry publications were writing about this mysterious new player transforming the market. Nobody knew it was me. Then my father called. "Marcus, I think we need to talk about Nexus NA, he said. What about it? I asked. Everyone's wondering who's behind it. There are rumors that it might be connected to us. Why would it be connected to you? I asked innocently. Because you're our son. Because people know you're involved in sustainable energy investing. I'm not involved with Nexus NA, I said. That's a completely separate entity. It was technically true. My firm managed it, but my father's firm had nothing to do with it. If people start connecting us to that company's success, I continued, it would actually hurt us. So maybe it's better if the world keeps thinking Nexus NA is independent. Don't you think? He understood what I was saying. If he tried to claim credit for my success, I would destroy him publicly. I understand, he said quietly. Good, I said. Then we agree. Nexus NA is completely separate from Blackwell Investments. Correct. Correct, he said. I just claimed a $5 billion opportunity, positioned it to be worth $1 billion in equity in 5 years, and done it in a way that was completely legal and impossible for my family to challenge. But the real plot twist came 6 months later. Nexus decided to go public. IPO valued at $50 billion. My 15% stake was now worth $7.5 billion. I was no longer worth $150 million. I was worth over $7 billion. When you're pushed into a corner, do you fight back or do you transcend? The IPO announcement made global headlines. New sustainable energy powerhouse goes public at $50 billion valuation. Mysterious investors' $500 million bet turns into $7.5 billion stake. Who is Marcus Blackwell? Yes, they figured it out. The media traced Nexus NA back to me. Within 24 hours, every business publication on Earth knew that I'd built a $7.5 billion company while my own family tried to steal it from me. My father called. My mother called. David called. I didn't answer. Instead, I released a single statement through my attorney. I've built Nexus North America as an independent entity focused on sustainable energy innovation. I'm proud of what we've accomplished. I have no comment regarding family business matters. That was it. That was all I said. But the story was too good. The narrative was too juicy. A young investor whose family tried to steal his biggest deal, so he created something even bigger specifically to prove them wrong. The media ran with it. Hard. News outlets started investigating my father's firm. They started asking questions about financial stability. They started looking into whether the firm had engaged in predatory practices. My father's company went from being respected to being scrutinized. Stock prices began to fall. Clients started leaving. Investors got nervous. My father's firm was imploding, and all I'd done was tell the truth. The irony was beautiful. Brutal, but beautiful. My father called me personally. "Marcus, you have to stop this," he said. His voice was breaking. "Stop what?" I asked. "I haven't done anything. The media is just reporting facts." "You know what you've done," he said. "You've destroyed everything I built." "No," I said. "You did that. I just existed. I succeeded. And when people saw that success, they asked questions. Questions that you weren't prepared to answer." "Please," he said. "I'm begging you. Do something. Defend us. Say something that helps us." I thought about all the years of rejection. All the years of being cut off. All the years of being underestimated. "No," I said. "Marcus." "I'm done," I said. "I'm done proving myself to you. I'm done seeking your approval. I'm done being hurt by your choices. I've moved on. And I suggest you do the same." I hung up. 3 weeks later, my father had a complete breakdown. He checked himself into a psychiatric hospital. My mother was beside herself with worry. David had quit the company to try to rebuild his own career. The Blackwell empire was crumbling, and I was watching it happen from the top of the world. But here's the thing I realized. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. Destroying them hadn't healed me. It had just created a different kind of wound. When you finally get revenge, does it taste like victory or like ashes? I was worth $7.5 billion, and I'd never been more miserable. I had everything I'd ever wanted: success, validation, power, money. I'd proven that I was better than my family, better than their expectations, better than their criticisms. And I was completely alone. My attorney asked me one day, "Why don't you buy out your father's company? You could easily. You could own the entire Blackwell enterprise." I could. I absolutely could. And the thought terrified me. Because I realized something fundamental. I didn't want to destroy them. I wanted them to be proud of me. Even now. Even after everything. I sat with this realization for weeks. It didn't make sense. Why would I want approval from people who'd hurt me so deeply? But the answer was simple: because they were my family. And you don't stop wanting your family's love just because they've hurt you. So I made a decision. I called my father. He didn't answer the first 3 times. On the 4th call, he picked up. "Hi, Dad," I said. "Marcus," he said, his voice weak. "I didn't think you'd call." "I almost didn't," I said. "But I'm learning something. Revenge feels good for a moment. But it doesn't actually heal anything." "What do you want?" he asked. "I want to have dinner with you. Just you. No business. No agendas. Just father and son." There was a long pause. "Okay," he said. We met at a restaurant in Manhattan. A quiet place. Private. When he walked in, I barely recognized him. He'd lost weight. His hair had gone completely gray. He looked 10 years older than he had 6 months ago. We sat across from each other. "I didn't steal the Nexus deal," I said. "I need you to know that. I could have. I wanted to. But I didn't." "What did you do?" he asked. "I made them afraid of you," I said. "I warned them that your company was unstable. And I told the truth." "Why?" he asked. "Because I realized something. Destroying you would destroy me too. And I was finally beginning to build something good. I didn't want to ruin it with bitterness." He started crying. Quietly at first. Then harder. "I'm so sorry," he said. "For everything. For cutting you off. For trying to steal the deal. For being a father who was so focused on control that I never actually saw you." I reached across the table and took his hand. "I know," I said. "And I forgive you." We spent the next 3 hours talking. Real talking. Not business talking. We talked about his childhood. About why he'd been so focused on power. About his fears. About his dreams. For the first time in my life, I saw my father as a human being. Not as a figure of authority. Not as someone who'd hurt me. Just as a man who'd been doing his best with the tools he had. "What happens now?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. "But I think we figure it out together. If you want to." "I do," he said. "I do want to." But I had one more decision to make. And it was going to shock everyone. When you finally have the power to forgive, do you take it? I made an announcement 3 weeks later. I was investing $2 billion into my father's company. Not to buy it. Not to take over. But to transform it completely. The press went insane. Why would he save the company that tried to destroy him? I gave one interview to explain. My father and I had a difficult relationship. He tried to steal an opportunity from me. But what I've learned is that revenge destroys everyone involved. My father made mistakes. I've made mistakes. We're both just trying to figure out how to do better. I'm investing in his company because I believe in redemption. I believe that people can change. I believe that families can heal. And I believe that the world needs more examples of that happening. With my $2 billion investment, we restructured the company entirely. I didn't take over. I became an advisor. My father remained CEO, but now he had my guidance. We shifted the company toward ethical investing, sustainable practices, social impact, the same principles I'd been living by. Within a year, the company was thriving again, stronger than before. My father and I started having monthly dinners. Just us. We'd talk about business, life, dreams, fears. One day he told me, "You're better than I ever was." Not in a way that hurts me to admit. In a way that makes me proud. "I'm proud of you too," I said, "for being willing to change." The ultimate plot twist. It wasn't me destroying my family. It wasn't me winning some grand victory. It was me choosing to build them up instead. When my family tried to steal from me, I had two choices. Crush them. Destroy them. Take everything they had. Transcend them. Build something so big and so good that their attempted theft became irrelevant. I chose option 2. But then I realized there was a third option. Help them. Teach them. Show them a better way. That's the option I actually chose. Because I learned something fundamental. The highest form of power isn't destruction. It's transformation. My family didn't destroy me by trying to steal my deal. They freed me to build something bigger. And then, when I finally had the power to destroy them, I chose to save them instead. That's when I finally became the person I always wanted to be. If someone takes something from you, you have choices. You can take revenge. You can move forward and build something better. Or you can transform both yourself and the person who hurt you. The hardest choice is always the third one. But it's also the one that creates real change. If this story moved you, if you've ever been betrayed by family, if you've had to choose between revenge and healing, if you've had to decide whether to destroy or to build, please leave a comment. Tell me your story. Tell me what you chose. Tell me how you transformed something painful into something powerful. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Because next week, we're going even deeper into how I actually built Nexus NA from the ground up. We're talking strategy, investor psychology, market timing, and the exact steps I took to turn a $500 million vision into a $7.5 billion company. This isn't just a personal story. It's a masterclass in business strategy. And I can't wait to share it with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing in the power of transformation and healing. I'll see you in the next story.